With the wax rim completed from the lab, we're ready to disinfect it and use it in the patient's mouth to prescribe where the teeth need to go ideally. And because of the complex nature of doing this prescription, I would recommend visiting my website at dentucation.com, going to the prosthodontic section and finding the videos you can see here highlighted in color, the Theory of Idealism Part 1, 2, and 3, and watching those to get a better idea of where teeth need to go for the ideal function, speech, and aesthetics. Okay, there's also videos there that would talk more about vertical dimension, which is critical here, and also how do you set the vertical dimension, okay, using the wax rim to prescribe those elements. So let's get back to our patient. Now, he presents here and he's not looking ideal. Without teeth, he would have a hard time articulating, chewing, and looking normal. So what we'll do is we'll put the wax rim in so we can overcome this look. See, it's all sunken in. You can see that. We'll put the wax rim in, disinfected and rinsed, push it up. Now this is why we need a little bit more flange so it'll hold better. Even with that, it doesn't hold the best, and there's been new advents, contemporary advents in the wax rim that will allow you to have a better hold. But you can see things are already starting to become more ideal. Though there's already errors, you can see them from a mile away. This is a big improvement from where he was just a second ago. Now look at him. Let's look at it in slow motion from the side. He's already looking 10, 15 times better. He doesn't have a lower denture in, and you can see some problem there. Okay, so let's begin to start using this wax rim to make prescriptions. Look at the angle I'm on. Look at the position I'm at. I lowered myself to his eye level, which is the position he'd look at if he was looking into Mill. That's called the repeatable aesthetic eye level, the real level, R-E-E-L, repeatable aesthetic eye level. That's described in the Theory of Idealism videos. Put the denture back in, and now I can see a better relationship between the upper and lower lips. But many times they come in without one, so you can then just kind of push the lip forward in a relaxed state to kind of see where it needs to be. Look at it from the side view and get an idea of how those relations need to be. So let's start setting the position of the teeth. In a relaxed position, I have him bring his jaws together. Okay, we'll look at him from the side view, and look at this close up. You can see that he's in an end-to-end relationship. That won't give him the lip support, and it'll also make his sound, S sound like a th. As you encroach on the tongue, it's going to make a TH sound. If you're far forward, it's going to make a sound. So we need to take this wax rim out, and I need to add wax to the facial of it. So that's what I'm going to do. Just luting more wax to the facial of this. Luting it really well. I do not want it to come off. Okay, put it back in. Now we can see a better relationship. This will allow his S sound to be very clear. It will also allow him to function better, and it looks more appropriate. Okay, this is all from the video Theory of Idealism. These are the dress to the 9 fundamentals. We started with the first one there, buccal lingual position of the maxillary central incisors from the side view. We validated that determinant, and now we're ready to move on to the second one. There's 9 determinants here. The last 2 deal with the mandibular arch. We'll focus in this video only on the top 7. We just did the buccal lingual position of the maxillary central incisors. Now let's go ahead and look at incisal length of the maxillary central incisors. Now, this gentleman is a little bit older. He has a hypermobile lip. I'm going to measure down 10 millimeters. The reason I'm doing that is collagen is given way, time is given way, gravity is given way to a longer lip, but his hypermobility is there at full smile. So when he smiles, his teeth are going to look excessively long if I do it off rest. So we'll go 10 millimeters down from the high point of his smile, because that's the average tooth length for a male of his size. By doing that, it's going to look normal for his age, and it won't look overly excessive. If he was younger, I wouldn't be using this methodology. I would be going from a rest position or a high smile to get a relative ballpark of where things need to be. Okay, so with that in mind, I've now set the incisal position of the maxillary central incisors, which is number 2. We're ready to move on to the maxillary occlusal plane, which is number 3, and that's from a side view. I've positioned myself in the repeatable aesthetic eye level, and I'm now setting the pitch of the occlusal plane. With a point in the front, the anterior central incisors length and buccal lingual position, we can now use that point in space to set the plane. I've got one point, that's the front. I can now determine a line that's about parallel to Camper's plane. Truthfully, if his head is in natural head position, we can just do it parallel to the floor, and that's what this picture right here will show. Excuse me. What this picture will show is that with his head in natural head position, we want it basically parallel to the floor. And you can see the cant of his natural rim, the rim that's in the mouth is off, and so we need to melt that so it looks more appropriate. Okay, and that idea of natural head position is talked about more in the Theory of Idealism video in part 2 of that 3-part series. Now with it melted, we can get an idea of how he looks. There's a little cant to his eyes, into his glasses, into his nose. We are using the ideal references from spatial gravity, etc., to set the plane here. And that leaves us to Buccal corridor number 4. Because it's a wax rim, we don't move the teeth out, even though it would be nice. We keep them right over the ridges. Now we're setting the midline. This is number 6, I believe. We're setting the midline. It's a line. It's also an angle. It represents a position and an angle. So we have to take that into consideration as we're setting that. So now we're doing the last one, the Zenith Line. Zenith Line is a made-up word that I've created. You connect the zeniths of all the teeth on 80% of the humans on this planet, and they will just be graced by the upper lip. So I'm just going to draw a line right at the lip, and that will be that'll share with our lab how long they need to make the teeth in the incisal gingival position. So I've now made that line in the denture. You can't see the lip here, but I've just scratched the line of the denture to give us a T, showing us the position of the incisors as well as the length. Those are the first 7. The other 2 deal with the mandible. At this point, we're ready to take a bite, and some of the videos I have for vertical dimension and setting the bite are available to you. But this is what we need at this point to be able to determine where those teeth need to go in a very simple traditional use of wax rims.